think the low was in last year, and I don't think we go back to that. I actually think that we're probably still in a kind of the first phase of the next bull leg up. That's what it feels like to me. You know, if we're looking at the longer time horizon, for those of us, I mean, there's two types of people in this market. There's traders and there's long-term holders. I'm a long-term holder of crypto assets. I tend not to trade around them. So my view is, where are we going from here over the next 5 years? And it's up. So everything else is noise. But, you know, the market fell 50% last year and then went up to the highs, back down 50% and kind of retested the low, didn't make a new low. And it's kind of been slopping around. It tries to go higher and then doesn't do it, then tries to go lower, doesn't do it. And my general view is that I think it's the economy that's doing this. So this is where macro and crypto come together. A lot of people don't realize that macro has a big impact. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that inflation has gone up. So a bunch of people watching this video now will have noticed that their wages haven't gone up as much as cost of goods, so they've got less money to spend. So if you're dollar cost averaging in, or you want to buy NFTs, or whatever you're doing in the crypto space, you don't have as much money. So that took money out of the market. And then interest rates are going up, so people who've got mortgages or rents, they've gone up as well. So there's less money coming in. So when I look at the kind of volumes in crypto and the value exchanged, it's not going up. It's just trading sideways, which is why the market's in this big sloppy range. There's nothing really happening. So that's what I think is going on. Is that a bear market? Is it a sideways consolidation? You know, I don't really know. I think the low was in last year, and I don't think we go back to that. I actually think that we're probably still in a kind of the first phase of the next bull leg up. That's what it feels like to me. But we need to see something change. Now, what is the thing that's going to change to do that? My guess is if the US economy or the global economy starts weakening, then the market's going to say, oh, there's going to be less rate hikes than expected. And therefore, that tends to be good for crypto or technology, kind of Cathie Wood style technology investments. So I think at the margin, it's those kinds of things. But the market's still struggling with, how do we deal with this? I mean, the stock market's the same, right? It's up and down, and it just can't figure out, how long is this inflation going to last? What does it really mean? How much are interest rates going to go up? And how much have they already been priced in, i.e. the rates have gone up anyway? So, you know, it's a really complicated macro situation, but I think crypto's done pretty well, considering you've thrown a war, 8.5% inflation, you've thrown Chinese bans, you've thrown all sorts of stuff at it, and it's kind of in a big range. If the economy's weakening and inflation's still at 4%, that's what we had in 2008, and the Fed started cutting.
Yeah.
It depends how weak the economy gets. So that's the key thing. Everything else is a red herring. If the economy starts looking like it's weak, then all bets are off and the whole narrative's going to shift. And that's very, very bullish crypto. So if you've got to think of it, with rates at their highs now and maximum fear and maximum pessimism, the outcome most likely to happen is not everybody's fear. It's actually the bond market cools off, inflation comes lower, interest rates start falling, and that's very, very bullish. So I'm actually more bullish overall. And I've been buying technology stocks for the same reason. Yeah. I just start to think everyone's so bearish and they all hate it that the chances are it goes up. I think the market's changed because of institutions. Institutions and hedge funds are in the market, and people like Michael Saylor are in the market, and people like Do Kwon at Terra are in the market. That didn't exist before. So before it was retail. So retail rush in, they get over euphoric, retail rush out, they panic at the lows. But here we've got different participants, which is why I think it's dampened the downside. So let's say you're right and we are in the bear market. There's no reason to assume it's going to go down 80% this time.
Right, I agree.
And so I looked at this with Amazon, right? So this is a network model, much like crypto is. Amazon, as soon as it launched, 2001, went down 95%, much like Bitcoin did. Then it goes up to new highs, then it falls down 65%, then another 60%. Then after that, the corrections were much smaller because more people are participating in the market. And before you know it, the corrections are 30% and now 20%. And I think that's true. So you could still be right that we're in the bear market, but maybe the downside is 50 to 60% as opposed to 70 to 80%. That kind of feels like that makes sense. Retail came out in May, and the reason they came out in May was because inflation started rising. And so people had less money in their pocket. So we just saw less activity from retail. But the institutions have been there. And I've set up a fund of hedge funds that invests in crypto hedge funds. That money goes directly into the market because you give it to a hedge fund and they invest it. So I know I'm seeing institutional asset allocation. I'm speaking to all the biggest pension funds, family offices, banks, everybody, and they're all setting themselves up. People are starting to allocate capital. People keep thinking there's going to be a wall of money where one day everybody comes in at once. It doesn't work that way. It's like a tide that comes in, and before you know it, you're that deep.
That's how you get the parabolic movement at the end.
Exactly. And then what happens is, parabolic moves happen once you start to see the price move. I know that sounds ridiculous, but right now retail will come back in if they sense they can make money, but they won't do it if they can't, because they can't take the risk. I mean, there's still a lot of interest, and nobody's freaked out by the price action.
Right.
But people are doing other stuff, right? Because it's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So they're focused. The people who remained in crypto have gone to NFTs. They did the other layer ones for a while, and now they're all punting NFTs because everyone's looking for a bit of adrenaline. How do I make some cash? So they're doing that. Others have just kind of stopped doing stuff and walked away, whether they've taken their money out or just leave what they've got in and they go about their business doing other stuff. So yeah, definitely interest has waned. It's because price action. As soon as price action starts picking up, I don't even think it even needs to get to 60-something thousand, because so many people are so waiting for the next run. My guess is by the time it gets to like 50, 55, you're just going to see everybody piling in. And that's institutions too, who've all been waiting and watching. They're like, we're in no hurry to do it. But the moment it starts going up, it's like everyone's going to scramble to get in.
We were possibly going to see a spot ETF for Bitcoin approved.
One of the people involved in one of the ETFs that's coming. So they've all got a schedule of approval, and I don't know which are the ones. And I don't want to name names about who's telling me stuff, but he thinks he has a very good chance, and he's been involved with the regulators for 5 years now, 4 years on this, and he's suggesting that it is very close. Okay. For whatever the regulators have been asking. And he said, the ARC one, that'll get rejected. The next one get rejected, but then we've got a chance. Let's see. Now, whether the GBTC gets accepted in that.
They've been making a lot of noise lately.
That's right. So, nothing is a certainty, but, this guy's a serious guy. He's not a shiller. He's like, I think we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And everybody else has said, I don't think we're going to do it. And he's been rejected, I think, before, or he didn't even put it up because they told him you're not going to get it yet. So it's kind of like, who knows? But there's a higher probability than I've seen. And whether that's April or May, who knows, right?